Hey guys, this is Joseki bringing you another audio commentary, copyrighted 2007, WCReplays.com. Please don't go stealing it. So yeah, this is another audio. Today I'm going to be covering the human versus human matchup on Echo Isles between Shriek and Insomnia. It was recommended to me to do a game on Insomnia, and I think this was a really nice game, very well played. Please get the replay loaded up at the 2-minute mark, and I'm going to talk at you for a bit. So again, human versus human, Echo Isles, Shriek versus Insom, going to be a great game. Very interesting, very intense, lots of action. Shriek with an extremely aggressive playstyle. Insomnia with his standard and subdued, relaxed playstyle that he's very known for, and I really like. Very consistent style, and he's very interesting to watch, being that he doesn't really stray from what he does. He's very consistent. He's going to expo. He's going to get an army advantage. And he's just going to win in winning fights, and he's just going to consistently do that throughout like a medium-length game, and eventually it's going to overcome you, and that's a lot of what happens here to Shriek. Shriek, playing with his very aggressive playstyle, a lot of econ harass, very reminiscent of what someone would do in StarCraft, for example. I know that's on everyone's minds with StarCraft 2 being announced and everything. So it's a really interesting game, two total polar opposite playstyles. Very interesting. I know you guys are going to love it. We're going to get it unpaused in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice are the two base builds. Insom doing a very standard base build with the opening on the bottom, just like one would do on Terranus Stand. Shriek creeping his top camp, Insom creeping his top camp as well. This is very standard on this map. Almost every single time you're going to be wanting to creep this camp, unless you're going to be creeping your green and then your merc and then expanding, which is a very risky move, but it is still very doable. Shriek is going to be using 4 militia to creep this camp, while Insom only uses 3. And another very interesting thing he's going to be doing is, as opposed to going down and creeping his green no brute and 2 poachers, he's going to be running over to Insom's base, which is something I do very often. Is a very aggressive move. Right off the bat, he's going to take his water elemental that he had. He's going to aggro the no brute and the 2 poachers, and basically creep out this camp while he's harassing the resources of SK Insomnia, which is going to severely delay his tech. In Human Mirror, one of the most important things is having a decent tech speed. If your tech speed sucks balls, most oftentimes you're going to be able to get their second hero and push your base a lot faster than you'd like. So I find it is extremely important to have a very fast tech speed, and if you can delay your opponent's tech speed, similar to what Shriek is doing right here, you're going to be gaining yourself a massive advantage in the long run. Shriek is teching, and Insom, they're both teching, and very pretty standard, because Shriek did this very quick rush sort of at Insom's peasants. Insom does have more footmen, but that really isn't too big of an issue right now. Here, Shriek is going to be playing a very interesting sort of bait and tackle sort of distraction, very strategical. He sort of distracts the Archmage and Foots of Insom while making a big loop around the trees on the right side, and then coming up to Insom's base, where he's going to be able to harass his resources again. Little subtle things like this are often what's going to win people human mirrors. Insom did build a tower, and if you notice, an upgraded while a tower is upgrading, it has no armor. And if it has no armor, well, it's going to be taken down rather quickly. So I would find that from a style like this, it's very important to play the illusionist as far as how you're going to be attacking and harassing their base. If I haven't mentioned, I'm going to be concentrating a lot on how Shriek plays, because I find it very reminiscent to my playstyle. He doesn't win the game, but I still think you can learn a lot from both playstyles in this game. Okay, so here's where Shriek sort of screws up. Usually when they call militia in their base, it's a very, very good idea to just book it. Like, book it, straight up. I mean, Shriek got a little greedy, and you're going to see this. Insom's going to block it off, and Shriek's not going to be able to get his 2 foots out, and that's a major loss, especially considering at Tier 2, when this one player is going to be going Panda and MK. You're going to need those footmen to be able to stop a Tier 2 push, or to be able to push Tier 2 effectively. And with such an aggressive playstyle like Shriek is playing, I would often find that you'd want to be saving those footmen, especially early on, when you're going to be in those fights. If you're going to be playing aggressively, you're going to need units, and the less units you have, the less aggressively you can play. So be very cautious of that thing. That was probably the first major mistake by Shriek this game, but even with something like that, I wouldn't worry too much. Shriek's still in really good shape. He did a good job harassing the econ of SK Insomnia. SK Insomnia now power building his lumber mill. Couldn't get his lumber mill up because he was forced to call to arms. The first major deviance in strat here. PGSPS Shriek is going to be teching to Tier 3, while Insomnia is going to be remaining at Tier 2. This is one of those epic questions on the human forums. Tier 2 versus Tier 3, this one's better, that one's better. And to be totally honest with you, both strats are very viable and very effective versus each other. This game, SK Insomnia will be winning, and he'll be going Tier 2. So all of you people who are big proprietors of the Tier 3 strat better watch out, considering that SK Insomnia does play very well here, and is able to pull off an effective Tier 2 strategy against Shriek, mostly through the use of Sorks. You're going to see soon how SK Insomnia is very, very capable and very well harasses and keeps the DPS of Shriek's army under control using Sorks, which is one of the key points of this game. SK Insomnia now reaching level 3, which one of the most important things in Human Mirror, always have your level 3. If you just saw, Shriek stole a creep using Bolt. That's something that's very interesting to note. If you're going to be running around your MK like that, you can steal creeps with a Bolt, very similar to how one would steal a creep with a coil, or, you know, anything of that nature, Dota style, you know? Okay, so there's a problem, another big mistake by Shriek. He goes on the harass with his Archmage. Sadly, he's forced to TP out with only 6 health. If the Panda would have used Breath of Fire here, he would have killed the Archmage, but I'm supposing Insomnia was just tried to be a little safer. The objects sort of talking about GGC, no lag, haha. So, you got a 4-unit surround, very solid by Insomnia, and very careless by Shriek. Should have been paying a little more attention there. Okay, so now Shriek at the 7-minute and 20-second mark is reaching his Tier 2, and there's Tier 3, and if you'll notice, he doesn't get a health regeneration item. He uses priests instead, being very money cautious, which I find extremely important, especially in Human Mirror. The more money cautious you can be, the better chance you're going to have of just generally, like, every 100 gold you save on this, 50 gold you save on that, longer you stay below upkeep, it's going to help in the long run, because when you think about it, it is a mirror. It is the equal units fighting each other. It isn't this, you can't really theory craft with resources as much, because, like, in Human vs. Night Elf, you could say something like, I'm investing 250 for a rifle that's going to be countering Dryads in X amount of numbers, so even if his Dryads are less, my rifles are more, and, like, you can get into this whole econ theory craft in other matchups, but I would say in any mirror matchup, generally speaking, your units are your units, and they're going to do what they're going to do, and you generally speaking, you need to have some sort of consistency. Like, if you're going to be losing money here and there, it's a very bad thing. Okay, Shriek got his MK surrounded, but it's okay, he had a staff. And whenever you're going Tier 3, that's one of the first things you should buy when you achieve Tier 3 is a staff. The staff